Do you know, being in podcasting every single day, it's sometimes difficult, number one, to stay on top of the best technology for use every single day, but number two, it can also be very, very easy to forget that so many people are entering the space and starting their shows, which is why time to time, I want to try and dig in and answer some of the more obvious questions that may appear very, very frequently, and that, obviously, we see a heck of a lot using Captivate.fm. And one of those questions that comes up a heck of a lot is, how do you actually record a remote podcast guest interview? What's the best way? And, you know, that landscape is always changing, so I'm going to talk to you about a few of my favourite options right here on the Podcast Accelerator today. I'm Mark Asquith, CEO and co-founder of Rebel Base Media, where we make podcast websites, the managed WordPress platform for podcasters, where we make Captivate.fm, which is the world's only growth-oriented podcast host, which is making waves in the industry and has rapidly become the standard for so many podcasters out there. Go and check it out for 7 days free if you like at Captivate.fm. So, like I said, there's so much going on in podcasting, so much new technology going on, so many new developments going on all the time, so many different pieces of technology that you can use, bits of equipment, microphones, mixing desks, the Rodecaster, the Zoom. You know, there's so much that you can do when it comes to recording. So today, I'm going to talk to you about my favorite ways of recording remote podcast guest interviews. And in particular, what I'm talking about here is when you're sat in one location and the guest is sat in another location. So there's no option to get together and chat over a mixing desk, all right? That's what we're going to talk about, how to record when you're miles and miles apart. But before I do that, a quick shout out to the team at AWeber. Do you know they've just launched as a way of helping podcasters to build their email list and to make sure that actually they're owning the data that they build, you know, because ultimately we don't want to be building our communities and our revenue on someone else's property, someone like Facebook. We don't want to be doing that. So AWeber have put together this fantastic onboarding campaign. So what that means is that, you know, when you sign up to AWeber, it means that you can get started as a podcaster very easily. You can add all the scripts and everything to your website. We'll do that for you if you're a podcast websites user. Ultimately, what you can do is just make sure that when someone signs up to your list, they get this really nice, welcoming onboarding campaign. It's very, very important because these are the first things that people are going to get from you. So AWeber have just given that away for free. It's part of every new podcaster's sign up to AWeber. So go and check it out. You can get a free trial. markasquith.com/AWeber. So, this might sound so simple to seasoned podcasters, but new podcasters still wonder how to record their guests remotely every single day. And there are a few options for this. So here are my favorites. Now, before we get to what my favorites are, the outcome with this is very clear. Let's just be really clear on what we're trying to achieve here. We want to make sure that we can dial in online, so we need a really good internet connection. We need to be on a really good microphone, so whatever microphone you normally use, you know, you're not changing anything about your setup. And the outcome that we're trying to achieve is the very best quality for your guest. Okay, that's the kicker with this, because your quality should be all right. You can record into your computer. You can record into your desk as you normally do. It's the guest that is generally the problem. Okay, so here's the way that I'd recommend you do it. There are a few different options for this. First of all, the very, very best option, in my view, which is not always easy to achieve, but if you can do it, if you're talking to, for example, another podcast, you know, if I talk to Evo, I talk to James, I talk to Ducker, I talk to someone else that is a podcaster, the best way of doing this is jumping on a Skype call or a Zoom call, but each of you independently recording your side. So as an example of that, what I would do, and we do this for Spark of Rebellion, myself and Gaz, we Zoom call in and I record my side on the Rodecaster Pro that I've got right here and that I'm recording into now. And Gaz will record his side into his Rodecaster Pro on that side. So you get the absolute highest quality audio. And then I send Gaz the WAV files, or he sends me them. More often than not, I send them him. I mean, every time I send them to him. He's the talent. He does all the editing and we end up with this really good audio. Now that is the ultimate way of doing it. Now, I'm not naive enough to think that obviously every guest will have a bloody Rodecaster, or that they'll be able to record something into a Zoom, or even record into Audition on their computer. But if they could do that, record into a Rodecaster or a Zoom onto an SD card, record into Audition on their computer using a really good mic, that is the best way of doing it. However, I know that's not always possible. So, what I would then recommend is one of the online recording services. So I used to use Zencaster, being totally honest. That's not my number one choice right now. I know the guys at Zencastr, the really sound guys, good team. We've spent a lot of time together at the conferences, but right now it's not my favorite option for that. My favorite option for that is Squadcast, which is run by my friends Zach and Rock over in San Francisco, and they're very, very close friends of ours, very, very good friends, and they do a wonderful job. They approach life and business how we approach, which is a very fair look at things, are very personable people. And what Squadcast allows you to do is it allows you to essentially do the same as what we've just discussed there with the local recording. Because what it does is, as long as you've got a good mic and as long as your guest has got a good mic and there's no bleed through from the headphones and so on, it will record your side into a WAV file. So the raw audio, the WAV file, it will record your side, and then it will record the other person's side, so the guest's side. It will record them locally on their computer into a WAV file and then upload that to Squadcast for you to download. Now, the benefit of this is that you get that raw audio. So you get me as a guest directly talking into my computer via the microphone. The reason that's the best option is that you can see each other. You know, Squadcast does face-to-face video stuff. It's high quality recording, so you're getting the WAV file from each side. It's essentially the same as myself and Gaz. Okay, it's probably not going to be the exact same quality as recording directly onto an SD card locally, but it's the closest you're going to get, all right? So Squadcast I really enjoy working with, and we do a lot of work with them on Captivate as well. So you can check that out, markasquith.com/Squadcast, markasquith.com/Squadcast. That is an affiliate link, so you know, we've got to eat, team. But go and check it out, squadcast.com. Squadcast.fm. What I would suggest, though, is there are another couple of options that a lot of people are still using. The two main options that people are using are Zoom.us, Zoom, the online kind of conferencing software. Personally, I'm not a fan of that. The reason I'm not a fan of that is that I find it a massive bandwidth hog, and I find that even though you can set it to record raw WAV files, I just find that because it just massively drains bandwidth, really hogs bandwidth, I find that the conversations can be stunted. You'll find your internet dropping every now and again, and it's just not the most reliable way of doing it. It's not a bad backup, but Squadcast will always beat that. So again, like I said, check that out, markasquith.com/Squadcast. Zoom, in my view, is not the one, okay? The other option that a lot of people are still using is Skype. So they'll use something like Ecamm Call Recorder and Skype. So Ecamm Call Recorder is this little plugin that you can use with Skype that will record the audio and then split the audio out. The reason that I'm not a fan of that is that it doesn't record natively on the guest's end. So if Gaz and I are recording Spark of Rebellion and I'm running Ecamm Call Recorder via Skype here on my computer, I'm going to get Gaz's compressed audio. So I'm going to sound a lot better than Gaz because his audio will be compressed, sent down the pipes and the tubing down through Skype, and then obviously recorded coming out of Skype. So that's kind of like recording a phone call. And you know what phone quality is like. It's not, it's not the worst, but it's certainly not local waveform quality audio, okay? So in my view, Zoom and Skype should be the bottom option, the last option. Only use that if you've got nothing else. Zoom, in a similar boat, not my number one. The number one and the number two, Squadcast ideally is the one that you're going to use. markasquith.com/Squadcast is the one you're going to use to get high quality waveform audio from anywhere in the world. But the number one option, if you can do it, but this is very rarely available, is if you and your guest can record locally into a device like a Rodecaster or a Zoom H6 or into Audition or Audacity on your computer, both independently, and match the files up and edit them together. That's the best way of doing it. But Squadcast is my safe choice and the best choice out there right now for, if you can't do that. It's the best software on the market for doing that. So go and check it out. Like I said, markasquith.com/Squadcast. Now, thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure. We are going to dig into on Friday. We're going to talk about, is running a podcast meetup a good idea for your show? There's a couple of things to consider with that. We're going to dig into that on Friday, but I think it's an interesting topic because it's all about community and people, all right? So we're going to dig into that. You know that I'm very passionate about community. I'm very passionate about people. So until the next time, thanks for joining me. Please go and check out Captivate.fm for your podcast hosting. Go and try it for 7 days totally free. Host multiple shows at just one cost and take advantage of just the unbelievable podcast player that we've got and a few other features that no one else is doing, all right? Until the next time, thanks for joining me, and never forget, the more you expect from yourself, the more you will excel.